Alright guys, what is going on? This is the Club with the Man 1993 and I am back after a 10-day absence. Just busy as always, so I'm here catching on up. We are live for my live review of last week's AEW Dynamite. Winter is coming. Winter is, of course, based frigid cold, which winter's basically here. Well, actually, winter really has not been here so far. It's been like cold, but a little bit milder, I would say, like in the 40s or 50s. So, not much room for snow so far in my area. So, I can't really emphasize the fact that it's cold, but really is not. But we're still going to talk about, of course, last week's episode of Dynamite. Winter is coming. Overall, thought it was a good showing. I, of course, enjoyed, the matches, especially the 60-minute classic that we got. Well, classic, but I feel like it would have been even bigger of a deal if, of course, there wasn't any stinking commercials in it. We, of course, got a little bit of a tease for another member of the Super Clique. We also had an excellent women's match with Hikaru Shida and Serena Deeb. We also had an interesting promo also with Malachi Black, maybe starting off his own stable. And in the main event, we had the one-on-one match for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, as it came down between MJF and Dante Martin. So, we had a pretty good, not a lot of stuff happened on this show, but it was a great show. That opening match, pretty good. We'll talk about that as well, as that was also a very, very good match. But this show took place in Garland, Texas. Well, Dallas, Texas. Some cowboy shit, Dallas, Texas, if you know what I mean. We opened up with the match that I'm sure most of you, including myself, thought we were going to close the show with, which is the AEW World Title match between Hangman Adam Page, the World Champion, taking on the challenger, the American Dragon, the man who will kick your head in, Bryan Danielson. And this match was long. It was long. It took a while for it to get out of first gear. But despite the fact that this ended up going the full 60-minute time limit, I can say that I enjoyed the pace of the match. It was slow, but it just gradually got more and more intense. It was at that slow pace that it kept you in check. It was slow, but it was getting, it was getting to the next level at the time where it's okay, I'm ready for this to just be awesome, but if it doesn't capitalize here, then, that's it, basically. Kind of again, in a weird way, it's just kind of like how it was for Hangman Adam Page becoming world champion. They had the story of, building him up, him missing out. But obviously, he knew he had his one last shot to basically prove it. If they didn't capitalize there, then that was it. Or how Sami Zayn did with his story becoming NXT champion in NXT. Something like that. It had that same type of flow to me where it's okay, you had to build up for that one moment. But it was one of those moments where you had to strike high, or else then there was not going to be having any point to it. And I just felt that's just what they did. They told an excellent story. They had Bryan Danielson out there, obviously, again, even though, yes, I didn't expect Danielson to go full on heel, but, again, Danielson knows what's up, because he wanted to literally, he wanted to get all the babyface momentum on the Hangman Page that he can. So, obviously, he was going to make himself the most hated man in this match. And it succeeded. There was a lot of points where it looked like, the match could have gone either way. But these two just beat the hell out of each other. And they went the full 60 minutes. and they were firing their best shots, but even the ones firing the best shots, it was just, they were just worn out. They were just tired. And and um um like I said, it just had that great pace to it. Like, Bryan Danielson should not be winning the world title here. Okay? I love Bryan Danielson. We all know he's my favorite wrestler of all time, but he's definitely not the one to be taking the title off of Hangman Adam Page. But at least create this illusion that he can beat Hangman Adam Page, but it's just going to make Hangman Adam Page look better in the long run to begin with. I just think that, again, like, the pace of this, going the full 60 minutes and going to a draw, what was definitely a wise move. I will say this, though. Well, besides the commercials, the only problem I have about this being a draw is, besides, of course, when he fought Miro for the number one contendership, Danielson's had his big matches with, Kenny Omega, and, of course, Hangman Adam Page as well, have both gone to draws. I get that they're trying to, I'd rather have them do draws than end in a DQ or whatnot, but it's kind of quick to me that they're having Bryan Danielson have multiple draws. So, it's like okay, it's okay, here and there give it a draw, but just be careful that you don't make a big habit out of doing nothing but draws for Bryan Danielson or for one wrestler. Kind of like how when Keith Lee first came up to the main roster last year, and he was basically in a feud with Randy Orton, but he was in the midst of a feud also with Drew McIntyre. Keith was literally, winning by disqualification every match. Which, okay, yes, I'd rather have a draw than a constant DQ. But as I said, I feel like after a while, especially with how quickly they gave them 2 draws, it could get a little bit old. So you may want to watch that. But it's probably setting up for another match at that special they're doing in January. I think January 8th, called Battle of the Belts. I think that's what they're going to be doing. The rematch between Bryan Danielson and Hangman Adam Page. Which, if this match went 60 minutes, the full 60 minutes, then a lot of people are saying this, and I agree. Their rematch should be an Iron Man match. I mean, I don't know if you can go a whole 60 minutes without a decision. Maybe the pace of it might change a little bit with it being an Iron Man match, but we'll see. But of course, it's like 60 minutes. It's like, okay, when you do a match and there's not a decisive winner, you gotta do a match where there must be a winner. But of course, if you have a time limit, that the suspense goes with how much longer could you really go. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I mean, I'd say Iron Man match. And of course, it can't end in a draw. But, we'll see what happens when they do the rematch. Because the rematch is definitely coming between these two. I mean, yes, of course, we still have a rematch for Danielson and Omega, but probably not until Omega comes back, which he's going to be gone for, I think I've heard 6 months, maybe. So, we'll see when that match happens. But of course, we still have to do that. But, awesome way. I feel like, though, if they would have ended the show with this, I feel like, they opened it because they did want to give it away that this is going to be an hour-long match. Because if they would have ended it with this, it probably would have given away that this is going to go, pretty long. And they wanted the fact that it was going, the time length it was going, to feel special. So, I understand why they had this open up, but it's nothing where it's like, the opener was great, but how do you follow up from that? Everything else, though, was pretty good on the show. But yeah, the match ends in a draw. But it was just an awesome, well-paced, great storytelling match, for sure, that happened between these two. We have a promo with the Super Click and Bobby Fish. They were just trashing on Best Friends. They proposed that on Rampage they're going to destroy Best Friends and destroy Trent's mom's SUV. But Adam Cole also says that next week, which of course is tomorrow night on Dynamite, he's going to promise the best Christmas present ever. Who could that be? Who could that be? It's someone that's in the alumni section of WWE now. Someone who was recently in NXT. Someone who apparently, at his last match in NXT, did a certain sign that's undisputed. Could maybe... And Tony Khan saying there are debuts due to come in the next few weeks. Could we possibly be seeing Kyle O'Reilly come to AEW and reunite the Undisputed Era and become the Undisputed Elite? I think it'd be pretty awesome. Because, if Kyle O'Reilly came to the AEW, this is basically the Undisputed Era's main roster call-up. They wouldn't have... They would have just disbanded, the Undisputed Era. They would have not... On the main roster, they would not have hit Shield, level. They would have, had Adam Cole, again, shave his head, become Keith Lee's manager. They released Keith Lee due to budget cuts. Adam Cole probably would have been released due to budget cuts at some point also. But I'm hoping that it is Kyle O'Reilly coming to AEW. We have a match with Wardlow and Matt Sydal. Wardlow squashed Sydal. During the match, though, Shawn Spears is at ringside, and he was really just getting under Wardlow's skin. It felt like he was telling him, why are you not just going for the pin? Why are you causing more trouble and whatnot? And Wardlow's even getting a little annoyed by this. After the match, Spears just goes kind of nuts, and he just does a bunch of chair shots on Sydal. Then he picks up his phone, and he informs MJF that Wardlow has to go pick up some champagne for MJF. So it looks like they're starting to tease the cracks in, with Wardlow and the Pinnacle. Showing that they may be, sending Wardlow off on his own soon. And maybe turning him face. Because Shawn Spears he was going a little too crazy there. It seemed like a little obvious that, there's going to be some tension to be built in the coming weeks with Wardlow and Spears. Well, Wardlow and the rest of the Pinnacle. But we'll have to wait and see on that, but Wardlow gets the victory there, which was nice to see. We also get a video package of the feud between Penelope Ford and Ty Conchi. I think they had a match on Rampage, I think it was. We also have a segment with Malachi Black. He's talking about embracing the urge to violence and putting the House of Black before everything else. Through agony, the house makes you stronger, and he says he makes a disciple vomit black fluid before putting a necklace on him and promising that he'll be more than just a king. Which some people are saying that person could be Brody King. So it looks like Malachi Black is starting some sort of a stable. And initiating people into the House of Black. Okay. We'll see where that goes. It could be, I don't know, well, could maybe it lead to I just thought of this. Could it maybe lead to Malachi Black creating his version of the Dark Order through the House of Black? And maybe, I know I've ran names like MJF, which I think, should, at this point, should be the best one. Some people are saying Cody Rhodes, if he would turn heel. And a few others could be the ones to dethrone Hangman Adam Page. What about Malachi Black? House of Black versus the Dark Order? Depends on who they get in there. That could be something. But we'll see, of course, where that goes. Hikaru Shida and Serena Deeb had a very excellent women's match. These two definitely work very well together. I just still continue to say that, they could have... Shida got the win here. I would have been fine with Shida winning here. I wish, though, they wouldn't have had her beat Deeb already before this match. Like I said, I just feel like The story they told to start this feud was when Serena Deeb stopped Hikaru Shida from getting her 50th win. And then she smashed, the trophy or whatnot they made for her on Shida and broke it. To me, that was a sign of some long-term booking and just making Serena Deeb she's a great technician wrestler, but making her much more malicious, developing a little bit more of a character for sure. And then a night like this, a show like this, you could have had Shida beat Deeb to get that 50th win. I just would have held off on Shida beating Deeb until here. But still an excellent match for sure. Like I said, these two have great chemistry and work very well together. And they're both really hitting it out of the park for sure. We have the Varsity Blondes being interviewed backstage to talk about Malachi Black's attack on Julia Hart last week. Was missing in her face, calling him a coward. But then Griff Garrison promises that he'll bring the fight to Malachi Black. And he challenges him to a match this coming week. So it'll be Malachi Black versus Griff Garrison. We could possibly see the first member of the House of Black maybe in this match. Maybe we'll see. You also get a recap of Hook's debut on Rampage that I heard was pretty good. Eddie Kingston also cuts a promo ahead of a 10-man match on Rampage, calling 2.0 and Daniel Garcia out and say he's going to tag with Proud and Powerful and Lucha Bros in that match. And then we have MJF come out before the main event. He comes out and taunts Texas for some cheap heat, as, of course, the other week, he was the biggest babyface in the world in Long Island, New York. Anywhere else, he's the most hated person, and CM Punk is the most beloved. But he comes out before the main event against Dante Martin. He calls CM Punk out for calling him out for going after the low-hanging fruit when he himself did 10 straight minutes of your local sports team sucks last week. He doesn't give a damn about the young talent because he's the only one that matters. He's going to become the 3-time Dynamite Diamond Ring champion. He even runs him down more. He even as far as goes and says that Punk has had he's been undefeated, but he has underwhelming matches, basically making him the most recent Ryback. Who? Firing the shots there, of course, at Ryback, saying how Ryback was overrated, and even though he was, he was undefeated, his matches weren't that great. He really wasn't catching much attention. He got thrown to the main event scene way too quickly, of course. But of course, also the fact that we all know Punk and Ryback didn't get along, and as Punk says, he claims that Ryback took 20 years off his life and just didn't have good experiences working with him. So that was a nice little burn there. But then MJF also runs down Dante Martin for having mic skills compared to Helen Keller on Quaaludes, and says he can beat him with a headlock takedown. He doesn't claim to be the best in the world, he just is. Dante Martin comes out, and it was a pretty good match. Again, Dante Martin, the thing that MJF won, I actually would have been okay with Dante Martin winning the ring here. I think, he would have been a good choice. I feel like, the first 2 years, I'm like, okay, keep it on MJF. This one, though, I was like, I actually wouldn't mind seeing him lose it to Martin. I wasn't going to be upset about that. But it didn't happen, but MJF won, fine. He'll claim the ring for another year. FTR came down to celebrate afterwards, but then the lights go out. They came back on, and Sting and Darby Allin are in the ring. They attack FTR and MJF, and beat them down. But then the rest of the Pinnacle even the odds, and then CM Punk comes out to make the save with a baseball bat in his hand. And Punk decides to team with Darby and Sting to team up against MJF and FTR next week in a trios match. And that's how the show goes off the air. And I was just like, cool by me. Like I said, I wouldn't have minded seeing Dante win that match, though. I still kind of wanted to see it, but I'm not pissed MJF won either. But that's my review, guys, on Dynamite. Gave it a B+. I thought it was a really good show. Before I check the live chat, I do, of course, want to try to get back to Seinfeld reviews. Don't know if I'll get to do them before Christmas. Well, probably not tomorrow night. I'm not sure when I'll get to get back to the Seinfeld reviews, but definitely want to do the next season. Of course, I'm excited about the next season because season 4 is definitely one of the best seasons for sure. As of now, unfortunately, I'm not going to do any like end of the year specials. I don't have the time, and I'm just worn out. So don't expect any of those for 2021, unfortunately. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Live chat. Who do we got here? We got Tyler. What's up, Tyler? Can we stop having Bryan in world title matches? He's had many chances. I get why people are, of course, are getting a little annoyed with Danielson getting title matches again. He did have, as much as I love Bryan, he definitely had a little too many in his last run with WWE. Like, the story was a little bit weird for him getting into the main event of WrestleMania 37. The fact that he got to wrestle again in WWE and, get his career back and have a chance to wrestle in the actual main event again was great, but I felt the story just didn't warrant him being in there. And, like I said, I don't want to see him win the world title. I mean, I won't be upset if he does, but I just feel like he's not the one to, for Hangman to drop it to. But of course, at the same time, you can't make him, just be a person there just to fight for the title and never win it, either. You gotta do what they're doing with him now and actually making him feel like he could win. So I'm okay with that, of course. Tyler does not like AEW having time limits. I don't mind it, because like I said, I think it's different. He gave it a C. Brock is overstaying his welcome. They're definitely doing this Brock and Roman feud way too long. Day one, that's enough. AJ turned face, which I think is overdue. What's up, Tyler? I'm sorry, what's up, T and Couponer? Do you think they are setting up Bryan versus Omega versus Hangman at the next pay-per-view? Ooh! I don't know if Kenny's going to be back that soon, but that'd be a hell of a triple threat match. Hangman Adam Page, Bryan Danielson, and Kenny Omega? Ooh. I like that, though. I thought Punk would cost MJF the ring. He could have. He very well could have, or at least, stopped, MJF from cheating or something like that. The comment, I was like, he completely cost him, but to make sure that he, set him straight, basically. But maybe next year, Dante. We'll see what happens with Dante down in the future. But that's going to do it, guys. I do have to finish getting my virtual trivia ready for tomorrow night, so I'm going to check out now here. Like I said, if I have time, maybe I'll start doing the next of the Seinfeld reviews. We'll have to wait and see. But, yeah, guys, thank you again for joining me live as always. Thank you for your patience. Was just busy for the past 10 days, so finally got time to squeeze this in. So, guys, what are your thoughts on AEW Dynamite's Winter is Coming from December 15th, 2021? Leave us down in the comments section below. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe more content to my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAir93. And until guys, I'm checking out. I'll see you guys all later. Have a great rest of your night. And peace out, everybody.